Today I'm looking at, see if we can make it show up nice here. Brick house. Yes, very sunny day. It's messing with the exposure. So this particular cigar was featured slightly in my humidor tour. I showed it. I think I showed a close-up of it, and that it was cracked at the foot. And let's see, where is the actual camera on this thing? Over there. You can see it's burning in kind of a weird way, like the tobacco all burned over here, but it sort of hasn't caught there. And I'd also mentioned in one of my videos how my humidor I thought might be too moist, and I'm thinking, again, because this is tobacco's having a hard time lighting, I'm thinking that's probably the case. Even though the hygrometer says it's not too moist, I think it is. I got 6 Boveda packets in there for less than 100 cigars, probably like 70 cigars, maybe even less. So I think it's too moist, and I don't know if you'll see it here. Yeah, you can see it very clearly. See that flaw right there? Another crack in the wrapper, and over by the label. I don't know if you'll see it. There's a little dark spot there. I have a feeling when this label comes off, it's going to start peeling the wrapper. So, by the start of this video, you can probably tell it's not a favorable review for our friends over at Brickhouse, which is put out there by JC Newman Cigars. I will say this, they do a good job of having a nice band on there and making it look very fanciful. Now, the story behind these cigars particularly is on December 24th. That would be the day of Christmas Eve. I went into my tobacconist and I said, I want 4 cigars. I was expecting to be smoking cigars with 3 other people, and I said 2 of the guys are novices. 1 guy, he likes some finer things. So what do we have that's good for beginners? Everyone can have the same thing, but it's still like enough that those of us who have some experience with cigars are going to enjoy it. This was the recommendation. Now, even then, that evening, because when we smoked them, like that day when I got the cigars home, I noticed one was cracked, so I smoked it, and then I left the not cracked ones for everybody else. 2 of the guys didn't smoke them, so I ended up with some leftovers, and where they've ended up on the bottom tray of my humidor. The bottom tray is basically where I put my budget cigars, or the cigars I plan on smoking soon because they're cracked or they've been around too long, or they're unwrapping and stuff like that. Which, fortunately for me, there's not too many in my humidor that have problems. This, I believe, is the last one with any sort of damage in the wrapper. In terms of the flavor profile, well, the fellow who recommended it, he did a great job of recommending the flavor profile based on my criteria. It's very simple. It's very basic. It has some of those things that I find in Cuban tobacco, although I believe this is Nicaraguan. And I tend to use cereal to reference like cereal flavors. Like I find Nicaraguan stuff leans into Shreddies, and then Cuban stuff leans into Cheerios, right? So this is kind of like a little bit of both. Pretty peppery, pretty a lot of those bitters, a lot of those tobacco bitters in it. There's a lot of tobacco in the cigar. It's a thick cigar, but there are some pretty serious flaws. Now, I did pay about $15 a stick for this. Now, in terms of flavor profile, you can get Don Thomas Classico for around $10. Same size cigar. A little better flavor profile than this. So, that maybe, this might be a little bit more complex, but not much. So, that might have been a better way for me to go that night, and I kind of knew, because a Don Thomas Classico with a little yellow label on it. I mean, it's a very good place for a beginner to begin with a cigar that's not super cheap and not super expensive. Anyways, of the 4 that I bought, 2 were cracked and 2 seem to be fine. I still have one in the humidor that's fine. The flavor profile, a friend of mine said it best, fell flat for him. These sort of basic, simple flavors, simple cereal stuff, not a lot of complexity, is fine. It's perfectly fine for anybody. But, like I said, the tobacconist did a great job of the recommendation based on my criteria. It just so happens that the cigars from the company weren't in the greatest shape. And I know they have, their humidor is all regulated, and it has, I don't want to say a computer, but there is an electronic system in there to regulate the humidity and the temperature. So it's not that their humidor is messed up. I don't think I've had too much from JC Newman. This is kind of one of the ones that I've had, and a lot of people say JC Newman's a great brand. My experience is, for about $5 less, you can get a Don Thomas Classico. It's about the same flavor profile. Never have I ever had a problem with the quality of construction from Don Thomas. If you're willing to go down to a Corona over a Robusto, you could go into Francica, which is a proper hand-rolled long filler Cuban cigar, for that same price. For a couple bucks more, you can step up to Rocky Patel, and for a couple bucks less, you can go to Drew Estate Factory Smokes. And that's where I think this compares. The Habano wrapper Drew Estate Factory Smokes would be much more preferable to this. Another one that's comparable to this, Hoya de Nicaragua Rosalón. Doesn't mean I'm saying no to JC Newman moving forward. Obviously, it could just be not a great batch. But that's my experience with it, and so I wouldn't recommend running out and grabbing one of these. But maybe you've had better experiences with JC Newman than I have. All right, take a look at that. The wrapper is swelling and splitting. You can see right here, it's coming undone. And you see how the ash is blooming all over the place? These pieces of it just falling off just like that? Not. And I can't even like get the ash to fall off. So what that is just the quality of cigar. The construction isn't there. The flavor profile is fun, and it's doing some fun things, but the quality of construction at the price I paid. Sorry to the folks over at JC Newman and Brickhouse Cigars, but that's just not going to cut it. Just wanted to add that bit. All right. Cheers.